Alright, so in this video, we're gonna be taking a look at the situation regarding Hasan Piker and the YouTuber Legal Mindset. So basically what's ended up happening is that Hasan Piker said some negative stuff about Legal Mindset, which Legal Mindset then reacted to and said that it was defamation. So we're gonna be taking a look at those clips in this video. And those clips are from a video uploaded to the Legal Mindset YouTube channel. And the video is titled, About Hasan's Defamation, Fast Facts. So without further ado, let's take a look at the first clip.
Dude, there's something so funny about people being like, dog, have you seen the Legal Mindset video about you? Dude, if I were to cover every Rumble lawyer, fake lawyer that it actually is.
So let's stop right there. Okay, so Rumble lawyer is very interesting. And I think he may mention Rumble again. While I do have, I guess, still a Rumble account, I haven't uploaded it to years. I don't stream on Rumble. I only stream on YouTube, primarily as a major platform. I've tried the others. I don't like them. So yeah, that's kind of a weird thing. Now, fake lawyer is interesting, and I want to throw out here that that's possibly the most defamatory thing. Now, I want to give Mr. Piker some credit here because perhaps he knows nothing about me or knows nothing about the law. Well, clearly he knows nothing about the law or what words mean. A lawyer is anybody with a law degree, whether or not they're licensed and practice law. So anybody who's gone to law school is indeed a lawyer. Now, attorney is someone above lawyer. An attorney has to be licensed to practice in their state. I'm licensed to practice in the state of Florida. So I am both a lawyer and an attorney above that. So thinking about that logically as a little bit of education, all attorneys are lawyers, but not all lawyers are attorneys. So there you go, Mr. Piker. That's the language. So that statement is indeed false, right? That I am a quote unquote fake lawyer because I indeed possess a law degree from the University of Florida.
Alright, so as you just saw in the clip right there, Hasan Piker was obviously not happy with Legal Mindset. And he called him this Rumble lawyer and this fake lawyer. And then Legal Mindset explains how that's false. Because, even though he has a Rumble account, he doesn't actually use it. And then also he explains how he is indeed a real lawyer because he has a law degree from the University of Florida. And then, also on top of that, not only is he a lawyer, but also he's an attorney as well, because he actually has a license to practice in the state of Florida. So yeah, he's not just a lawyer, he's also an attorney. And so, in that sense, it's completely false. What Hasan Piker said was just straight up completely false right there. And now watch what he says after this.
So that statement is indeed false, right? That I am a quote unquote fake lawyer because I indeed possess a law degree from the University of Florida. So that statement in the future would be defamatory. And with Mr. Piker, we do have to remember, and with myself and other figures, is that we are all public figures. So we follow the New York Times versus Sullivan standard. We have a higher standard for defamation than the normal private individual. So now that that's been clarified publicly for Mr. Piker, and that he will well know that that information is false and defamatory, to continue to do so would perhaps incur liability on the part of Mr. Piker.
Alright, so let's break down what just happened right there. So Legal Mindset first of all said that, hey, I'm not a fake lawyer, I'm a real lawyer. And he provided the information. He said that he's this lawyer who has this degree from University of Florida, and so he's a real lawyer. And then after that, he said that, okay, so now that this has been made public information, now that this is something that he's addressed, and he's made this video reacting to Hasan Piker, and he said this as a response. He said that, in the event that Hasan Piker says this in the future, this will then count as defamation. And then he also mentions at the end that, perhaps if you do this in the future, if you carry out this defamation in the future, then perhaps it will incur some liability on the part of Hasan Piker here. Alright, so for my understanding of it, what he was basically trying to say was that, hey buddy, if you keep saying these things about me, then I might legally hold you accountable for what you did. And yeah, that's a pretty insane situation to be in. I mean, in my past videos I've also mentioned how being put into a lawsuit is a horrible situation, and trust me, you don't want to be in that situation. So it would create a lot of problems for Hasan Piker, and yeah, these things are really expensive and they cause a lot of issues and a lot of stress too. So, and oh yeah, by the way, these things can drag on and on and on for a very long time. So there's that as well. Now real quick, I'd just like to say that it would really help me out if you would subscribe to my channel, because I am trying to grow this channel, so subscriptions really help out with that. Now anyway, back to the video. Now from that same video, let's take a look at another clip.
Like a right-wing freak that spends most of their time talking about like trans people.
So that's very interesting. So I will say this. Most of my time talking about trans people, the issues I have been covering lately have been the Ethan Klein lawsuit, have been Johnny Somali, have been Vitali. Now, unless you are counting something with Somali or Vitali as a trans issue, which I would struggle to understand how that would fit in, then yeah, that's not at all what my content has been about for the past years. So very interesting thing. Also, I keep politics out of my streams, and it's particularly over the last year, 6 months, definitely last 6 months and a year, I have endeavored to keep my streams as objective and educational and make it a environment where everybody is welcome. Even people who like Hasan Piker are welcome in my chat. You are welcome in my chat, whether you're right, left, center, whether you're apolitical, whether you don't care about politics. It doesn't matter at all to me. I care about the law and educating people on the law. That's the core of my channel.
Alright, so in that clip, Hasan Piker said that, oh, this guy is just some like right-wing guy, and he like constantly talks about trans people or whatever, that like typical like criticism that people have of like those that are super like right-wing and stuff. But then Legal Mindset says, hey, wait a second, what are you saying? I'm not going around constantly talking about trans people. In fact, I don't even know of like any videos he's made about that. But yeah, overall, he covers different topics, like Johnny Somali or Vitali, all the crazy situations that they get into and all that. And, perhaps he mentioned trans people here and there in those videos, but overall, that's not something where like he's constantly talking about it all the time, which is what, Hasan said. And also he said like, this guy's like super right-wing or whatever, but that's not the case either. Legal Mindset actually focuses just on the facts and focuses on the legal aspects of the things going on. And, he gives that like legal perspective, saying that, oh, this law was broken, or maybe this law was broken and things like that. But yeah, it's not like he has some kind of like strong political views that he's sharing on his YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is certainly not about pushing some kind of political agenda. And this is something that Legal Mindset himself addresses in that clip. He says that, hey, look, that's not the case. And he says that, people who have various opinions regarding politics are all welcome on his channel. And again, this is a part of the whole like being unbiased thing. And he says how, at least for the past 6 months or the past year, he's been really trying to, have that kind of environment with his content online. And so now let's take a look at another clip from the same video.
Going to pay any mind or any attention to some psychotic MAGA lawyer, not a real lawyer, but a passport bro.
So, okay, that's real interesting. Once again, he repeats the defamation, saying I'm not a real lawyer, which is indeed wrong. And it's interesting, and MAGA, of course, don't bring up politics. That I've never talked about that at all recently at all. But beyond that, passport bro is interesting. Because the definition of a passport bro is typically someone that would visit a location for a short period purely for sexual purposes. And for anybody who knows anything about me, I'm a long-term resident of several countries in Asia. I've been a resident of the Republic of South Korea, the Kingdom of Thailand, the Philippines, and Japan. I would insist that perhaps the only person that perhaps between the two of us would be a passport bro is the individual who visited Berlin solely for the purpose of going to a brothel.
Alright, so as you just saw in that clip right there, Hasan Piker calls him a passport bro in addition to the things he said earlier. And then, Legal Mindset says, hey, I'm not a passport bro. I'm not here for that kind of stuff. And I'm actually someone who actually lives in these places long term. And then he says that actually between the two of them, if any of them is a passport bro, then that would actually be Hasan Piker. And the reason he said that was because he says, oh, well, Hasan Piker is the one that went to Berlin to visit a brothel. So, yeah, I mean, some pretty crazy clapback from Legal Mindset here. So, yeah, overall, that was just the stuff that I wanted to cover. And, these were my thoughts on it. And now I'd like to hear your thoughts on it down in the comments below. So let me know what you think down there and we can have a discussion. And with all that being said, guys, this is Alexi signing out.